Very excited about this wine. When you go behind a horse with the plow,
Yes.
it opened the mind.
Do you find yourself often chasing after runaway cows?
If other people say this is not a good idea, it's for us the best motivation.
Many wineries in Europe have a long history, but few have stories to rival Weingut Geyerhof in Kremstal, Austria. This remarkable family farm over the centuries has reinvented itself time and again. From shipping to brickworks to farming to winemaking, they have stories. Napoleon's army even stored their rations at one point in one of their cellars. The estate was passed down from mother to daughter unusually for many generations before this was common practice. They are pioneers in organic viticulture. And today it's the 13th generation, Maria and Josef Maier, who run the estate, and they are taking that commitment way further.
With this wine, we decided to pair it with the fresh seafood like the urchin, trout, and also scallops.
And it's the first time now that we serve the new vintage.
So Grüner Veltliner.
It's a Grüner Veltliner. I'm excited. I have to taste now.
Okay. I love that sort of like citrus peel and floral notes on the nose. You're saying a lot of minerality, and it's just so taut and racy.
25 was really a beautiful vintage because it was at the beginning. It rained a lot, and it was not good for the kids because during summer it was cold and rained every day. But for the wine, it was perfect.
You don't hear that from a lot of winemakers, that it was raining and cold and it was a great vintage. It's the Kremstal, for people who don't know about it, you're in a valley.
Yeah, it's a valley just along the river of the Donau, so the Danube, exactly. We are in a borderline, so we have totally different types of terroir, from very deep soils to very rough, very dry soils. Our idea is that the wines take all the energy that they need from the soil.
Yes.
And so we don't irrigate and we don't fertilize. And the wines have to take, so from granite soil, they get different nutrients than from the loess soil, for example. And so the texture is totally different.
Stepping back, and with your family, we can step back quite far in history. Your family's been on the land since the 16th century. What does it feel like to be the steward? I think you're the 13th generation, is that right?
We don't know exactly, but it's around 13th to 16th generation. It's a big responsibility that my wife and me, Maria and me, we have, or that we continue. And on the other side, it's also great that it's ours. So we took over the estate from my parents, and then we changed a lot.
And you never felt any pushback?
My parents always supported us that we do the changes and to say, okay, yeah, this is a good idea, go for it. Or they said, okay, we think it's not a good idea, but go for it. and
see how you do. When you look back in the history of the estate, I mean, it went from the farm to wine, shipping wine on the Danube, the brickworks. Are there any chapters of the story that fascinate you the most?
I'm really fascinated by the time scale, because the estate was founded in 1045. And it was built by monks.
Okay.
And since this time, they produced wine on our estate.
One of the cellars on your property is called the French cellar.
Yeah, near our estate was a fight against Napoleon. And the French troops, they stored food and things for the soldiers. One of our cellars is called the French cellar because it was occupied by the French.
can imagine your ancestors at the time having to put up with Napoleon's troops coming onto the estate to take out their rations.
There were many wars in our area over this generation. At the end of the Second World War, there were many bombs dropped on Krems, and one bomb just exploded beside our house. So there was a restaurant, and one bomb destroyed this restaurant just on the other side of the street. So we were very lucky.
And do you feel that the weight or the joy of that history when you're...
Yeah. I think it's very powerful because it gives the trust that things continue. There were many circumstances that it was very hard for the people to stay on the farm, and they stayed.
They found a way.
And so we're really confident that we will also find a way.
So you're not as stressed out about his climate change as most people would be when you think back to all that your predecessors suffered.
Yeah. We have this portrait of one of my ancestors, an old woman. She lived at the end of the 16th century. She has a damage on her eye, and it looks like this, and said, these are no problems you have, so just, and so it's...
So when you're feeling like you can't continue, you go and look at this portrait and think,
If you look for, on the topic climate change, it's important to think how nature works, and we do now a lot with agroforestry and biodiversity. We also have cattle and draft horses on our estate. And so all these small elements work together to create really a very holistic and very stable environment.
In a way, you're going back to the way the farm might have been several 100 years ago.
It makes so much sense. You can use the manure for the fields and for the vineyards. So everything makes sense.
Everything has a purpose.
Yeah, many other producers said, okay, this is crazy. You cannot start with cows in our area. We are a wine growing area. If other people say this is not a good idea, it's for us the best motivation. And so we just bought this 4 cows at the beginning. And
they have names?
No, because we eat them at the end. And then the next big change was the implementation of the horses. Maria and me, we were so fascinated by this plow. A friend of mine said that people worked for thousands and thousands of years with horses in the field. So he thinks it's epigenetic.
Okay.
And that it's just, and it reminds you then on this old part that we were all farmers. When you go with the horse behind the plow and it's too wet, then the horse stops. Or if it's too dry, the horse stops. And with the tractor, you just continue driving, because with the tractor, you are not connected with the soil.
Since your earliest childhood, your estate has been certified organic. This was your mother's initiative. One of the first estates in Austria to certify, yes? And so what led to that decision?
Acid rain was a big topic at this time. And so many pines died and the forests died. And so this was for her a very, very strong motivation to change the way of agriculture.
I love the staging of your food.
So in front of you, you have the diver scallop. We call it the pétanque Pac-Man. So it's a classic dish from Plaza. And also you have here the urchin, the urchin cream. And also the trout éclair. So it's like a pâte à choux. The trout roe also, a little bit of gold to finish on the top.
Wow, thank you.
Enjoy.
Thank you very much.
Delicious. For people who've never been to the Kremstal, never been to the Oberfuka, to your estate, can you sort of mentally walk us through what it looks like today?
I really like this estate. It's a very nice place. It's like a Baroque building.
Okay.
And the house where we live is in the center. And then there are several buildings around this house. So we have the cellar and then the horse stable, the cow stable. I feel a very positive energy. Sometimes in the morning, I feed the horses, then driving the tractor. And then in the evening, you go to a very good restaurant, doing a wine presentation. And it's all in one day. And it feels sometimes
like you're 10 different people in this.
Yeah.
And what do you find the most challenging in the work that you do from day to day?
For me, it's that it's very hard to plan. For example, if you plan a week outside in the vineyards and then it starts to rain and you have to change everything, or if the cows run away.
So do you find yourself often chasing after runaway cows?
Especially last year we had one. He was a professional to escape
artist.
Yeah, and then I don't know how he did it. One day, our neighbor came and said, "Is it possible that one of your cows was in my garden during the night?" He went for a walk. And he went to the garden of our neighbor, and then afterwards he jumped back in. And so, yeah.
So they just saw the evidence of everything being trampled. You've got 2 children.
Yeah.
Still quite young, obviously.
Yeah, 8 and 10.
Do you dream that one of them takes over the farm and carries on?
Yeah, of course. We try to show them that it's a good life.
Yes.
And we try to show them that it's a joy.
You're saying your wife and you have a really special relationship.
Yeah, we have a very strong relationship to the wines. What is really unique is this freshness and this cool climate that we have. So we have a ripeness, we have a freshness, and still low alcohol.
Such bright wines.
Yeah. We work the whole year in the vineyard, and we look every day. How will the weather be? What should we do? All the decisions have at the end an effect on the wine. And then we do harvest. We harvest everything manually. And also fermentation in the cellar is a very emotional time, because you never know what will happen. But at the end, of course, sometimes it happens that the barrel does not evolve like we want, and then we taste it and say, and you get angry with this barrel, saying, "Why do you do that?" And then
this is not the wine you wanted to make.
This is not the one, and then I get nervous, and Maria says, "Come down," and then Maria gets nervous. I say, "Come down." So it's like,
it's great balance.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then my mother always says, "Come on, don't care about this. We just wait."
Yes.
And then suddenly, the wine, you taste it, and the wine is perfect. And this is such a nice moment. Like today was the first time that we showed a 25.
I'm honored that you showed it with me.
It's it makes
the culmination of all of your work, all those months and months.
Yeah. And it makes me then a little bit proud that
you can be proud. I'd say this is beautiful wine and has complemented the food so nicely. And this has been such a wonderful conversation.
Thank you very much.